Okay. No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Today I have the amazing staff from The Great Debates, which is the staff. Very
We're
cool
all here.
podcast. One of my favorite podcasts, and I'm very happy to be in here and
We're
the shit with
psyched
you
to
guys.
be here.
Thanks, man.
I don't know. Our producer, Mark, he might be coming too. I invited him.
Oh,
Oh.
cool.
Is Mark? Is he the guy who always you can kind of hear laughing in the
Yes.
background?
Yes.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if like Healy or if Medina took his own mic away at a certain point.
No, I
Mark's-
laugh too, but on mic.
Okay, so for the people out there who aren't familiar with your podcast and who might find the concept of one podcast interviewing another podcast kind of strange, what is the overall vibe of your podcast? What's the concept?
Okay, well,
yeah,
we've got these.
sell it.
I've got these two guys here, and
Right.
one of them has sort of a sunny disposition. That's Steve Healy, and the other has a cloudier disposition, and that's Dave King. And
Yeah.
that these dispositions sort of naturally lend themselves to like attacking each other over topics large and small.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We take the great issues of the day and we argue about them.
We get in the ring and we have it out.
No holds barred. It's just vicious. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I
With your words.
I relate to
word-
Dave's outlook on life more. I think.
Here we go.
You
Here's
lean-
my
A
guy.
lot of people
Lean
lean king.
king.
Yeah,
I'm a negative person. I don't really. Normally, I find myself relating.
I love it. I want to clarify the people who lean king are not necessarily people who see the glass half empty. These are just people who understand that I'm a superior debater.
Have you ever thought of having your own brand of lean called Lean King?
This is a great idea.
So you guys were very fascinated by the concept of us interviewing rappers who do drugs on camera. They drink lean. They fuck up the podcast.
Yeah.
It's cool. I love it. I'm amazed that I'm in a store that has a sign that says "on some shit"
Can you
out
believe
front.
that we got away with this? Yeah.
Yeah, wait, can I ask you about that? Or does everyone ask about
3
that?
years that they haven't.
No one's
asked
come
us
in to
take it
find
down.
out if you are or are not on some shit.
The amount of weed that gets smoked in here and the fact that a cop never has
Right.
stepped foot inside says a lot about downtown LA.
I was going to say,
If you're going to start enforcing the laws down here, that's going to take
There
a
are
while.
first one.
Yeah.
There are other ones to get to first.
There's other laws that need to be addressed.
but when you take out, like the name of your business, were you like on some shit incorporated?
Well,
or
it's been like a T-shirt brand that
Right.
I've had for a long time. You can't actually copyright something with a swear word in it.
okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Right.
So that's a whole thing with us in Asia where we get bootlegged relentlessly, but can't really do anything about it. You know, it's weird.
I see.
Yeah. So
Respect.
Take
I
me back
love
to the early days. How do you guys know each other?
Oh, man. This is a bad
We grew up in
story.
the same town.
Yeah, Healy and I,
Needham, Massachusetts.
home of the
Can
Rockets.
go way, way back.
Wow, that's crazy.
But we all
because I'm
met
from
in-
Nashville, New Hampshire.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's great.
Because you're just saying you're going back to Cape Cod. I was about to ask, and I figured that it
Yes.
was just
Yeah.
assumed. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. So Healy and I grew up together. We met Medina in school.
We all went to college.
We all went to college together.
Where was that?
This is Harvard. And then
Oh, what? Sorry. Can you just say that? I'm not sure we heard that, Dave.
And then, yeah, we kind of just a few. When did it start? A couple years ago. We were like, everybody's doing a podcast. We should do something.
Well,
we're
Dan
smart,
was working
funny
at a
people.
recording studio,
Oh, that's a great.
Which was a
point.
huge. We were like, what are we wasting this opportunity?
I feel like we were all together at a party, and you both mentioned that you wanted to do a podcast, but you were missing the like technical link. And
That's right. That's right.
That's where most podcasts die.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
luckily, we had the key component of a guy with some mics in the space.
So what? You were an audio engineer from a young age? This was like-
I wouldn't call it a young age, but like sort of post college, I kind of got into recording and
Okay.
all of that jazz.
So you guys all knew each other, and it really did just occur to you like these guys debating each other is a great idea for a podcast.
Well, actually, first we had a podcast that was called "Is This Interesting?" We recorded 3 episodes of it, where it was like talking about whether something or another was interesting. So boring.
Doesn't sound interesting at all.
Sucks.
it was not
And
interesting.
thank God we didn't do anything with it. We just had, but I've gone back and listened to the tapes recently. It was just a piece
Garbage.
of complete shit.
It was bad.
So then we made a pivot, as they say in the tech world.
They
We're
do.
like, let's get some fucking conflict.
Yeah.
Fight. Do battle.
Yeah, we went dark for a while.
Yeah.
and then I think what happened is at one party, Healy has this annual party at his house in the late summertime. I feel like, and the one year we came up with "This is interesting." Or is this interesting? Or what? This is boring, basically.
It was. It
then
turned out to be. The answer was no.
went
This is not
away,
interesting.
and then a year later at the same party, it was like, Medina, we have a new plan and a new idea. It's called The Great Debates.
I showed Dave this. I found in an old notebook of mine. It just says "Debate with Dave King."
That's great.
Yeah,
Frame
I think
that.
that's in the Smithsonian.
No, the idea was yours, and then I was like, we should just call it The Great Debates.
The Great Debates.
And
It
then
is a great name.
a podcast was born.
And so, how would you describe
Story of a
the
podcast.
structure of it at the time versus the structure of it now? Because it has changed a bit over
we
the
worked
years.
out like a format, like
Yeah.
a talk show style format.
In the
Medina-
beginning, it was all about the results, and now I think
Yeah.
it's almost like you guys have realized that the results don't matter.
Man, this is I'm loving how much this is great.
I've listened to actually today I tried to go all the way back to the
Yeah,
beginning, but
you
in
don't wanna go there.
in the iTunes app you can only go to like
You can only go
32.
so far.
How did you hear about it?
Yeah.
DJ Novak on the Tim Ferriss podcast.
Hell
That was
yeah.
huge
That's
for
great.
us.
Shout out. Was that huge? I was wondering.
Yeah, that was big.
That was good.
BJ has been like a huge supporter of us for some reason.
That
Thank
is
you,
for
BJ.
sure. Yes.
Are you a Tim Ferriss fan?
Within reason. I mean,
Yeah.
I have him on my podcast app. Almost never click it. Was on, and I mean, as funny as I love The Office. I love BJ. He was great on it. Whatever. But it's not like someone that I would typically listen to an interview with. But I was on vacation with my parents for a few days.
Cool.
So I just happened to be listening to it poolside, and you know what? I loved it before I even heard it because I was just like, that is a fucking format right there.
There you
Because
go.
I always wanted to be in debate class in
Hell yeah.
high school
Yeah.
or some shit, but I was too reckless to
It's
actually do
crazy
it.
that nobody's done it. I guess people are starting to
There's
do it now.
others that are
Yeah.
similar. There's
like
others that are similar.
nerd, smart, serious,
Right.
sober versions of it. Like there's Intelligence Squared, right, which is some like Oxford professors debate about like climate change or like tax policy or something. But nobody debates about whether or not there's 90 gay dentists in Nebraska.
Oh my
no
god,
one
I
would ever
love
touch
that one. That was fantastic.
That's a fan
It's
fave.
important work that's
Yeah.
being done.
Hey, and my first ever episode was The Beach is Fun,
Oh, that's a good one.
which was
Great.
the first baby.
Great to baby, yeah.
Right, was
Yeah.
spawned from
Parents of the first
right.
Great to Baby.
They fucked that night.
Oh.
I hope so.
They
They,
fucked
That's how that baby was.
had to work some shit out.
Where do you
after
come down
that.
on the beach? You're an LA guy, I know.
I go to the beach approximately never.
Right.
I have really almost no interest in it. When I do go, I kind of have to force myself. It's like going to the dentist or
Yes,
something.
it's a chore.
Yeah, I like knowing it's there though.
Yeah, I like
It's a
having it
chore to
there.
get there, but once you're there, it's so great.
Yeah,
It's
why don't
like
I do this all the
every
time?
I'm like, shit, why don't I do this all the time?
I like the seaside, but not the beach.
I like that take a lot.
Yeah,
I
the
dislike
beach
that.
is the
I hear you.
sand,
That's a
the
white guy's
junk.
take.
Get that out of there.
I tell you what else I like. What?
You just said that's a white guy's
It's
take.
an East Coast take.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it is.
interesting. Well, this is. I'll go even whiter. I like.
Try.
I prefer lakes to oceans.
Oh,
I'm a
very
lake
white
guy.
take.
Well, where we're from, lakes are far more common.
It's
yeah,
great.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's just something a little more. I mean, let's be real. Oceans are very scary. They could kill you.
Power, the power of the
A
ocean.
lake's not going to kill you. Well,
I think a lot of people die.
people might die dead. You'll find dead
What
bodies
about
in
that
a lake,
movie
but they
Lake
won't.
Placid where they got an alligator or something?
Right. I mean,
The ocean is extremely unlikely to kill you. Let's just throw that out there.
Is that true?
Well,
Oh,
unless
'cause
you
the
choose to
salt,
engage
it's
with it
easier
in
to
such a way.
float.
You gotta be challenging it for it to smack you back.
There's a very safe way to interact with the beach.
that's true.
Don't touch the jellyfish and don't go in deep.
Yeah. That's fair. But then what are you even getting out of it? Like,
Yeah.
to me, the fun of the ocean is like to get shoulder deep, jump up and down in the waves.
Yep.
I'm serious.
Oh, you're right,
You know
though,
what I
yeah.
mean?
you like that?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's very like
Get-
cleansing your brain.
Yeah.
You feel like it's
You
sort of.
don't like to go in the ocean?
I like it okay.
Get
But I'm
out-
surprised Dave does.
Oh.
It's hard for me to picture him getting shoulder deep
Sure,
and
sure.
jumping around.
I'm into it.
You get out past the break, and you just kind of just try to survive.
The funniest thing was what's her name? The woman who was on that podcast.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Yeah, she just goes 2 words: temperature regulation.
Yes!
And I was so
That's a good
psyched.
point. Yeah,
Great
that's
call.
a
That's
good point.
exactly the problem with the beach is that sometimes it's too hot, sometimes it's too cold. You got to come prepared with a lot of different stuff.
That's right.
I got a question. What's your sunburn situation? You got the sleeve tats. How does that affect?
Never been
sunscreening?
concerned with the suntan lotion in my life. Never thought about
That's
it.
in my house growing up, like going to the beach, you were gonna get slathered in sunscreen before you went
Yeah.
anywhere near the beach, and that part of the experience took away a lot of the fun.
Last time I went to the beach, I put on way too much, and I looked totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done it in so long that I forgot how much you needed. Yeah.
I'm team no suntan lotion. It may kill me, but I think that suntan lotion is overrated. I think the chances that it's just as bad for you as the sun. I mean, the sun has good things in it. It gives you vitamin D. That's true. Natural vitamin D is better for you than
clinical studies that prove that sunscreen is beneficial and prevents aging.
Yeah. I'm going on a sort of a gut feeling that an educated guess that my skin is good for the sun.
Yeah, you got that Semitic Mediterranean.
Yeah, careful, bud. But yes, I got an olivey glow.
Skin.
But do you ever look at like the poor Irish people, the Jewish people who have just the worst skin for the sun that you could ever imagine?
rough.
And you just feel really bad for them.
Yeah.
No,
Have you
I
ever
mean-
seen like a person who's just red from sunburn? It's horrifying.
After being out there for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
we all know people like this.
The like Jimmy Buffett style women who like the top of their boobs are all sunburned up.
What does that mean to you, Jimmy Buffett style women?
Yeah, I have no idea what that reference
You know,
means.
I
chicks
kinda
are down
get
in
it.
Key West, like
Yeah.
big, loud, brassy, blonde women who don't mind if the top of
Brassy.
their boobs are like suntanned.
Jeez.
You know what I'm talking about?
How would you guys
All right.
describe your interest in debating prior to starting the podcast? Because which one of you is kind of a debate nerd? I remember somebody mentioning.
That's got to be me.
Yeah.
Oh well, Dave, you were in mock trial. You were captain of the mock trial.
I wasn't captain, but I was a fierce competitor on the Needham High mock trial team and took it very seriously.
What did they call you?
They called me the fucking
nickname?
executioner because I put the other. No.
Probably Dave mostly.
Yeah, mostly Dave.
Mostly Dave.
But I did love it, and I also have always just loved arguing. I'll argue with anyone about anything, and more so than that, it took me years to realize that other people, when most people argue, they find it confrontational.
Right.
And when I argue, I just find it enjoyable. I've never had an argument with someone and then had my feelings hurt. Well, I have, but you know what I'm saying? In general, my feeling is like, oh, that was cool. We kind of we argued.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a wrestling match.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, it's fun,
exactly,
but
exactly.
You could go have a roll in the hay. Yeah.
And then, so I like doing that. And
I saw little
yeah.
Esther tweeted that your girlfriend, little Esther, she gave a
Yeah.
shout out that you gave her a call. She had a great argument.
She checkmated me on an argument wherein basically I had to admit that I was to a certain extent Jewish. I don't want to replay the whole
Oh,
thing.
wow. Okay, because you guys recently debated this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So then that carried over to your home life.
yeah, it wasn't a direct epilogue.
Wait, what was the argument?
I don't want to get into it. It's too much.
you did,
But it was
Does it have to
very
do with
funny.
circumcision?
No. It was like, excuse me. It really it won't. It won't. It won't illuminate
Okay,
the
gotcha.
thing. It was basically just me going like, "Fuck, checkmate, you got me." I guess I'm a little bit Jewish. I don't
Is
like to
Esther
admit
the
that I'm
best
Jewish.
arguer of all your relationships?
She's up there because her tactics are very different. She'll either just laugh at me, which is very disarming.
Yeah.
Or she'll find she's not afraid to stay with it and find other people try to go head on with me, like my dad or my mom. That you're in trouble. I'm just going to wear you down. But Esther will take a back road, sneak attack kind of style. That's the only way to get me. I shouldn't tell you this, Healy.
Back
Don't-
roads.
yeah.
Take the
Sneak
take the
attack
country
heels.
roads.
But Healy, what are some podcast or some debates like? Do you go down the YouTube wormholes of watching all this stuff? And I'm interested in
That's
what
a good
wormholes you've
question.
kind of
You
gone.
know, I
down.
was such a nerd when I was a kid that I still have on VHS tape like every presidential debate from like 1996.
That is nerdy
Yeah.
as
That's
fuck.
amazing.
You really,
I also, in fairness, have every Bruins playoff game from 1996.
Okay, so it
on
balances
VHS.
out.
it's doing a lot of weird things.
But
okay.
yeah.
96.
96, a weak year for presidential
Clinton
debates
Dole?
too. So boring. I have Clinton Dole and I have Gore against
Kemp.
Jack Kemp. Weak.
What you wouldn't do for a dole these days with Trump on the horizon,
Oh
though, right?
my god, I would kill for a Dole. The guy was a fucking war hero. He was cool.
It would be so. It was a different time when you just had these boring ass candidates.
Yeah.
You know, they're just
Yeah.
Senator from
Yeah.
Kansas.
Yes.
That doesn't happen
There was
anymore.
almost nothing to him. By the
Adam,
way-
what's your arguing, debating? Are you into it? Do you get into the sport of it?
I
Your
became
main
very interested for a period of time with watching religious debates.
Okay, yeah.
That's like the big question. It's basically like the question. And
Yeah.
I was a Sam Harris fan and a
Yes.
Christopher Hitchens fan.
This guy.
And don't fuck with him. Interesting. Okay.
Speaking my language, man.
regressive left, but hashtag regressive left. But that Sam Harris, I started watching him debate like these rabbis and these priests, and then he would just be wiping the fucking floor with him. Which, if you're a halfway intelligent atheist, I mean, let's be honest, it's a pretty easy argument to win. But there's infinite ways that it can unfold. And then I just started watching other debates, and in England it seems like they have awesome debates on fucking TV all the time. They relate to your perspective, where a debate is not necessarily confrontational.
That's right.
And I don't think that carries over. You look at Fox News and it's clear that that's not an American thing.
No, it's about people like walk away hurt, and the idea is to like score points, whereas in England the more European take is like, let's find the truth here, let's present both sides and see what you think at home. No?
Sure. They're like one big family over there. It's like a family dinner in Parliament.
It is. It seems like there's less. I don't know. I'm not even going to begin to try to explain what it's like over there compared to here. But I don't know. There's something different about the debate style. How do you feel about debating the big stuff, like God, abortion, gun rights? I guess maybe stuff that people feel so passionately about. You guys
There's
don't
plenty of that
go down those
conversation
roads.
happening out there,
Right.
that we don't really need to add to. I don't think.
I think we also just like politically, my guess is that we agree on most of the big stuff, and also, but like sometimes we'll try to take on the big stuff, but in a more oblique way. Is that
if you
the
want to
word?
do 3 minutes on any of the biggies, I'm game.
Wow, that would be
Interesting.
epic if we did do something like that
I
on
would
here.
take any side.
Is there anything that stands out that you guys like fundamentally disagree on politically, or like things that would fall into the realm of typical debates? I don't know.
Ooh, I don't know. We're actually pretty.
I mean,
Go.
I don't want to defend it, but I've always. This is awful. I'll just open this box up. I don't want to necessarily
every
debate
box.
this.
Open boxes.
I've always secretly wanted to be pro-torture, and I can't quite get there yet. But it's a thing where I feel like most people's reaction is like, well, that is absolutely the wrong thing to be doing. We shouldn't be doing that. And I think at the very least, maybe I've talked about this. Have I talked about this on our podcast?
I don't
before?
think so.
Not on the
I'd love
podcast,
to
but
hear it,
definitely.
yeah.
I feel like at the very least, it's a way more complicated issue than just like, it's a human rights violation. You can't do that. That's terrible.
Sam Harris has done like unbelievable stuff about this.
He's
into
the
it,
way
right?
in.
He wants
Yeah.
to torture.
He's got the most logical take on the way into
His
defending
stance is
torture.
like, he breaks it down to, and you guys could identify like what debating strategy this is, I guess, but he breaks it down to the most basic level, where there's a guy, he's in a car, he's got a gun to an infant's head, and you have to shoot him to fucking stop him from killing the kid, or you have to torture somebody in order to stop him, blah, blah, blah. It's like you could so easily find these situations in which I think that you can't write off torture.
Wait,
I would
didn't we
love to hear you guys debate.
But
Yeah,
wait,
sure.
I think we did. Didn't we? Because weren't we talking about how it was like, why didn't we at least just torture Saddam Hussein and see what happened?
Just for kicks?
Didn't we talk about that?
I don't know. You want to?
No, not really. I don't know. It's too. It's,
Wait, what do you think?
sorry.
What do we not know?
It's
Well,
2000.
probably nothing. But there's a chance that like if you torture him before you kill him, he goes, okay, there's also shit's buried in the mountains.
Well, but there's also a chance he just makes up. I mean, he'd probably immediately start making up shit. That's what I would do if
possible.
I were getting tortured.
Don't you think that if you were to be tortured, that you would just give up everything right away?
Oh, yeah.
We're not built for this,
No.
right?
You
Before
wouldn't-
torture.
No.
Before
Yeah,
it
I'll
even
give it up
yeah,
now.
exactly.
Yeah.
I would
what do you
say
wanna know?
everything that I know under the sun. There's nothing I know that's
Like
that
the
secretive.
mild
but-
social awkwardness would make me give it up.
That's right.
Oh, God, yeah.
If you just ask me what all my passwords are, I'll just tell you.
You put me in a room with a guy in a mask, and I'm just spilling
Yeah,
at
that's
things.
it.
It's over.
Yeah. Healy, what do you consider the other big issues?
You don't think that people who are intoxicated should be allowed to give sexual consent?
Yeah, that's right.
I like that.
I don't.
Wow. Okay.
I think that it is basically. Yeah, I think it's basically.
You think like if you have a 0.08 blood alcohol, you've had 3 beers.
Is that where the line is for you, Dave? Is it like
it's really tough.
DMV
I don't
level?
know, but I think that if you're quote unquote inebriated, that you can't. That basically having. That basically you. I basically think that you shouldn't have sex with drunk people. That's my basic take. Healy feels otherwise.
It's a very, very complicated area because,
It's
you are
awful.
going out and giving yourself a potion that is going to make you fucked up. You're choosing to do this to
That's
yourself.
Yeah, I think throughout history, this has been a way to like ease some social tensions and like it's okay.
Yeah, you know as well as me that sentences that begin with "throughout history" are not the best defenses of long-held beliefs. But
You guys should debate like. I don't know. That's such a good one though, because like, okay, my co-host sometimes is this guy Robesman.
Yeah.
He works in the music
keep hearing
industry.
about Robesman.
Yeah.
He's gonna love the fact that you guys all just said his name.
Roman is like Slender Man to me. Or something.
He resembles Slenderman in real life. He's very thin
Yeah,
and
I'm
tall.
kind of bummed that Roseman's not here.
No.
There's just not enough chairs. Yeah,
I
otherwise
like it.
would've.
I gotta say, I like it.
He's cool that
because
he
in my
remains mysterious.
yes, I don't.
okay.
I like him, but I don't know what's going on
What's
with
up?
Rose.
He comes up on this podcast and then he comes up in Brandon Wardell's tweets.
Constantly.
Brandon Wardell's tweets, yeah, where I
character.
incorrectly named you guys during his interview. Like I
love that.
That's
he
great.
mentioned Dave King, or he mentioned you, and then I got really confused for a second.
Yeah, because
but
Robe's been crushing on little Esther.
Oh, Robeson was.
Yeah.
Well,
bad news.
you know what?
Sorry, buddy.
That's cool. So do I.
Yeah,
I like
hey,
Roseman.
nice-
That's great.
nice take.
Yeah.
Good take.
But anyway,
Generous.
he works in music management or whatever, and he was managing this band, and the singer got drunk with some random chick and fingered her. He's in jail for 7 years
Wait, what?
for fingering a drunk girl while he was also very drunk. And it was and the main issue is that he like texted her his account of what happened, and then the police came to him and he gave them an account as well, so he just like confessed 2 times. So any chance that he would have had to get off, I don't know. If you're this woman though, how do you feel about
Oh,
him
wait a
sitting
second.
in jail
Is
for
this the
7 years?
dude? It was like kind of controversial just recently, like a music guy who people were talking about.
I don't know anything about him except I saw a music video. I don't think it was terribly recently.
I mean, that's the crazy thing is that, like, you can do some. That's part of the reason why it's not a good idea is that there could be legal ramifications for it, even if you're on solid moral ground. But it sounds like there's usually not legal ramifications for it unless someone feels violated in
Right.
some way, right?
Which is
I'm not-
seems logical. Right?
Difficult to gauge
I don't know
at the
if-
time.
Yeah, exactly.
either party.
Exactly.
I was listening to the coffee versus cocaine debate today too, which is really really funny because
that's a good
I've
one.
discussed that with my friends before,
don't even
and
remember that.
you were
Yeah.
you brought up the legal stuff like right
Yeah.
away, like it's illegal. That's such a go-to, like you know.
Well, I take things at their face value. Healy likes to go like, okay, so we're in a world where where cocaine and coffee are perfectly, and I'm like,
Doing the impression of the other guy is such a killer move.
It's a good move.
very cutting. Yeah.
I was hoping maybe we would get to some like what I think we're at our best when it's something very silly that we take completely
That's right.
seriously
I agree with
and
that.
really follow it logically as far as possible.
Tupac might be alive.
Okay, yeah. Which side, Dave? You take the.
Let me take the goals. Almost
affirming,
literally
yeah.
more life affirming for you to take.
Okay, cool.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want me
This
to
is
talk,
great
or
too
we'll
because
just-
there's zero preparation. That me saying that right there was the
No,
first
it's
time
great.
that this came up, and I
Great.
think it was a pretty good brainstorm.
That's great. We're never prepared, but we're less prepared for this one than
Okay, we're going.
Sorry.
The circumstances around Tupac's death are very cloudy and mysterious. This is a character who is very capable of sort of shape-shifting and reinventing himself. He had a lot of friends all over the world. The burden of fame, his life was in danger, obviously, at the time that he was shot. So it would make sense for him to assume a new identity, pass unnoticed into some mysterious place. He was a guy who was really good at reinventing himself. He could have come up with all kinds of new personas. He had a lot of help. He had a lot of contacts in the underground world as well as the sort of straight world. He had plenty of money and resources. So yeah, I think this is a guy who could pull that off.
This is going to come down to what is your definition of the word might. Tupac, we know that his body is deceased. We know that he was shot. He was loaded into an ambulance. He said, "Fuck you, police." After he was shot and before he was loaded in the ambulance, we know that the same body was then found. I believe they performed an autopsy on it. By all accounts, he is dead. What you have to go with, your only possible argument here is that like Tupac might be alive the same way that anything is technically possible.
Okay.
But the idea that there's an actual plausible way that he's still alive is a non-starter argument.
Okay.
We know that his body is cold. It is dead. It is no more.
Okay, we know a body was put into an ambulance, right? This all happened in Las Vegas, right?
Yes.
Do you trust for 1 second the Clark County medical examiner?
Yeah.
Do you trust the paramedics? Do you
think
trust the
the
Las
Clark-
Vegas PD?
What is your argument, Healy, that the
all
Clark-
these people can be bought?
You think that the Clark County medical examiner is in cahoots with Tupac? Also,
think-
you kept saying that he reinvented himself, but really all he did was like give himself several names. He didn't actually have like
So
different
now he's
personas
going
and stuff.
as Mark
He was pretty
Donaldson.
consistent.
He's in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, but people would know he's Tupac. I mean, this is the
would
same
know?
reason that Elvis isn't alive and all the other people who are purported to possibly be alive aren't alive, because they're never discovered. No one ever. If Tupac were
Why
alive,
does this legend persist then? Why about him?
Because
and
of his
not about
music.
Biggie?
That's the dumbest
Not
question I've ever heard.
No, but it doesn't persist about a lot of.
persists-
Nobody thinks Aaliyah's alive, right? Her music was cool, but
people want to believe that Tupac is alive more so than they want to believe that Aaliyah is alive. Also, Aaliyah happened to die in less, what do you call it, like mysterious circumstances. No one
really don't
knows
know.
who shot Tupac.
the facts around it are so. There's so many mysteries. Why couldn't there be one more? Which is he pulled basically David Copperfield act and disappeared.
Because we've seen his dead
was-
body.
why do you think it
the
happened
answer
in Las
to why
Vegas?
isn't there one more mystery is that because there isn't. He is dead. His body is deceased. It's void of life.
A
there
guy-
have been autopsies to prove
Tupac
this.
apparently. I mean, you of all people should know. Like, illusion is not reality. This has happened in Vegas where they're doing magic tricks every single day.
So your
You don't
argument.
think we can make it look like a guy gets shot?
Your argument
a
is
guy
that
gets
the
into an
access
ambulance.
to smoke and mirrors, quite literally, is one
I
of the
think it's no
reasons why we
accident that
should.
this occurred in Vegas, the world's capital of illusionists.
I think that you've lucked into a kind of funny argument here, and you know that that's not an actual reason why Tupac might be alive. And I'd ask you to take the debate a little more seriously. Do you want to go to closing statements?
Yeah, okay, I'll close it out.
All
Look, this rumor persists for a reason. This is a guy who was capable of escape and reinvention. It happened under extremely murky circumstances. The murder was never solved. I think no problem to throw another mystery on top of that. And this guy pulled off one of the greatest disappearing acts of the 20th, 21st century. What year it happened? 99? Anyway, Tupac very well might be alive. It's not probable, but it's possible.
You're talking about Tupac Shakur like he was Harry Houdini. He never escaped from anything other than maybe the, poor results of poetic justice at the box office. I don't know. But he wasn't any sort of like, this idea of a disappearing act, there's no precedent for that in his life or any of the people around him. He was shot multiple times. He was killed. He is dead. So again, I go back to say that Tupac Shakur might be alive
You go see
is
David
the
Copperfield and
same.
be like, he made the Statue of Liberty disappear. It's gone. I can't see it. It vanished. He made it disappear and he brought it back. No, you're falling for the easiest trick in the book.
I don't understand even what you're arguing now. You're saying that Tupac...
Your only evidence is like the visual.
Well, insofar as the only evidence that I have that there's a microphone in front of me is that I can see it.
A guy whose life is in danger goes to Las Vegas. A mysterious shooting happens. He disappears. Could very well still be alive anywhere in the world. He might be within a mile of us right now.
I mean, it's just, that's as absurd as saying, like, the four of us go record a podcast, and we all claim that we're all present, and we're all in each other's company.
We're not debating what consciousness is.
This is how they all end up. Yeah. I think we're done. Medina, what'd you think?
This is his role. For the people watching who haven't watched an episode of The Great Debates, this is what Medina is here for, and it's most of what he contributes.
I think if what you're saying is factually true,
And we don't know that it is. I know nothing about the autopsy or anything like that.
then it's very good. But Healy had an argument that I'm much more attached to personally.
That anything is possible.
Well, and just that, like, the man was like, he had the resources and the means, and
The resources
and
was
maybe the creativity and the inspiration. To
I
do
think
it.
you didn't bring it. You also left on the table like a great argument, which is like, if he is still alive, what's he been up to? Like, there's no way this guy would.
I
come
said
up with
no one's seen him.
cool music or something.
Well,
Like, we
because
would've heard
I don't
from
think
him.
that's a good argument.
If
Because
he pulled it off, I mean,
I feel like a lot of
Healy-
his music came out posthumously.
that's the thing, Healy. You got to see two moves ahead. I say that, and I know you're a good enough debater. You're going to go, that's where all. That's of course he's been recording since he
yeah.
was alive.
chess, not checkers.
That's what we're playing here.
See, I am a skeptic per se, so I have no time for the Tupac is potentially alive theory. But of rap fans, you're talking about a lot of people who might not be terribly intelligent. There are a huge percentage of people that believe there's
Sure.
a chance. So you are representing a side that many people relate to, and they're probably going to be commenting with like theories of their own.
I tweeted out today to ask some of your fans to give me some hip hop information, BMX information, and somebody just tweeted to me, Soulja Boy has an IQ of 168. Or no, 68.
With just 68.
Yeah, it's
Which
just the
one
tweet
is it?
was at Steve Healy, Soulja Boy has an IQ of 68. Which is, I looked it up. That's like
idiot.
you
or-
would probably be in a regular classroom.
You know who that is? That's
Forrest
like
Gump.
it's the
In the movie,
the
right?
kid in Making a Murderer.
Here's Stephen Avery. If you have a 68 IQ, no, probably that's probably about right.
The kid, the 16-year-old, the
Yeah.
guy who they.
Oh yeah, the guy who wants to get home to watch
Brendan,
TV.
Brendan
Whatever.
Dowsey or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
What does he
yeah.
want to watch? WrestleMania?
Oh god, that was so sad.
Yeah.
Did you notice how bad his jeans were in the one thing too? He had like these jeans with like a zipper that went across. Like you could turn him into shorts, and he's just wearing them while he's confessing to
That
this
might
terrible
have been
thing.
cutting edge in the junkyard, Wisconsin.
Do
scene.
you guys think that they're guilty? I think they are. I watched the whole thing, and I eventually
I
came
haven't watched
around.
a single episode.
Okay.
I think it's a shame that they didn't. The documentary, in trying to defend him, made him seem, I think, more suspicious than he was. And I think
Right.
if they had presented all of the objective evidence, we might go, yeah, I think there's a good chance that he didn't do it, as opposed to going like, I wanted to believe that there was a good chance he didn't do it, but they left all this shit out. Now I don't believe anything.
Yeah.
I think they did him a disservice.
But don't you always end up feeling that way after like a Michael Moore movie? Once you look into it a little, it's like the plot, the basis of it is something that you agree with. Like there should be universal health care. There's gun violence is bad. But then you look into the movie a little bit after, you're like, man, they, in the process of making a documentary, they leave out a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. You know.
I was working on a Michael Moore impression today.
Okay.
You ready?
Hey, wow,
Yeah,
okay.
because somebody
Bring it
was
on.
telling me they went to see, know Who to Invade Next or whatever.
Yeah.
But none of that money was going to my hometown of Flint.
Pretty good, really.
It's good.
But over in Norway, public school has recess and healthy lunches for kids. Back in America, it's cheeseburgers and pizza. Not bad, right?
I'm impressed. That's the best impression I've ever. It's not amazing, but it's the best
That's
impression.
like the content of every fucking Michael
Yes.
Moore movie, though. You nailed it. Yeah.
So why can't we be a little bit more like Finland?
Yeah, that was good. Really, that's
Amazing.
great. Man, you got to take this on the road.
He's just got like a very Eurocentric like fetish.
One
Yeah.
step towards Frank Caliendo stardom.
Yeah, exactly. Now you got to get. You should be. You know what you should do. You got to hone in on an Errol Morris impression. You should be the documentary impression
A brand.
Werner Herzog.
That could be.
Well,
You could
you
go to
sh-
Sundance and do it. Do you had a topic you wanted to do one time that was like people enjoy impressions or most
Oh
impressions?
yeah.
Yeah.
People like it when you do impressions.
Okay.
That was the
yeah.
topic.
What do you think about that?
People like it when you do
you like
impressions.
impressions?
I would say that the vast majority of impressions that I hear the layman do is they bomb.
Right.
Layman
they're bad.
bomb.
It's
Tough.
Generally.
It's
They're bad.
usually
But when
tough.
you get a good one, wow, what a feeling,
Oh,
right?
what
You
a
guys are
rat.
trained professionals. You know, you work in the entertainment field. When he said he had a Michael Moore impression on hand,
You were skeptical.
Well, I was skeptical, but I tended to trust his judgment because he's someone that is
He's not going to, walk in here with
demonstrably funny.
I'm not going to completely waste your time.
I was terrified. I'll admit it. I thought I was like, "Oh, Healy's leaving himself out to dry."
I
here.
mean,
What's the most
Well, because you said
cringeworthy
you had
thing
just
he's
been
ever
working
done on
on
the podcast, in your opinion?
Oh,
great
I don't
question.
know. He
Moment
keeps it
where you were
pretty
like,
cool.
wow, that sucked. You just fucked it up, yeah. Because you did the Nazi comparisons that get him very upset.
He doesn't like
Makes
that.
him mad.
Oh well,
That
Healy, because I live in an area just barely on the valley side
Okay.
of the greater Los Angeles area, and Healy, during our blood boil debate, which we wore blood pressure cuffs to see how much we could get each other's blood pressure. and
Classic
pulse.
app. Yeah.
Classic app.
Classic.
Hashtag blood boil 2K16, and yeah, Healy was like, "I'm so happy to be here in the valley where Dave lives." And I was like,
So it got you pissed
motherfucker.
off right away?
It's a
What's
low
not
blow.
to like about the valley? It's
The valley's
nice over
great.
there, Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Let's move on.
Well, we're all from relatively shitty places that the valley seems really great in comparison to.
fully built out, very convenient.
Yeah.
A little bit more
They got
spacious
The pavilions
than-
that has like a Panda Express and a Starbucks inside.
Wow.
Oh,
Right.
I live in Koreatown, so it's like I look at the valley. I'm like, man, it's like here, but it's a little bit more spacious, a little more spaced
Yeah,
out.
yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I'm not really in the valley. That's the
This
fucking
is the thing
point.
is,
I don't think that if it came out that Soulja Boy's IQ is 68, I don't think that anyone that his fan base would care.
oh no, it would be cooler.
Yeah, it would be way
cooler,
cooler. It'd be cool. It was like, wow, look at this. He's really made the most out of whatever he had going on.
Who do you think is the dumbest rapper active
God.
right now?
Wow, there's a fucking lot of dumb ass rappers. There's some surprisingly smart rappers. There's
Sure.
a lot of dumb rappers. I don't know. I'd have to sit here and fucking scale them all day because there's.
Has any rapper ever bragged about having an IQ of 69?
That would be very cool.
Great number.
Yeah.
A very funny number.
Yes.
There's a rapper named Helly who is part of Cameron's Dipset clique, and
Sure.
he once in like a hood DVD in about 2002, 2003, he very seriously said into the camera, he's like, I went to the doctor the other day to get an AIDS test. He told me I was negative, but he told me that I tested positive for swag.
Oh, man.
Looking right into the camera, saying this completely seriously. And it's just, I mean, he might have the lowest IQ based on
Is
that.
it possible that the doctor was telling him he was positive for HIV?
And there's just
That's just his way of saying it.
I was like, no. You have
He
to,
misunderstood.
we don't do AIDS tests. We do HIV tests, and you're positive for HIV. Swag?
Swag.
No, I don't know.
You
I
have
never
no
said anything
information
about
on that?
Yeah.
I don't know why you're changing the word.
What are the biggest debates in the world of like BMX right now? What would you say if you get two BMX people in a room, what are they going to
What are they going to argue about?
I mean, I think that in BMX it all really boils down to like traditionalism versus the new wave of the internet. Because
What are the hallmarks of those two
magazines, full-length video projects like on DVD that are 45 minutes long. This was traditionally the way that media was always produced in both the skate and BMX communities. Now with the internet, it's like people started to put out 3-4 minute videos straight to YouTube. Now people put tricks straight to Instagram. It's a cause of much debate because
And traditionalists are like, fuck
yeah,
that.
and people
We
are
need
like,
to
fuck
put out a
that,
DVD.
Yeah, and for us, it's like we make
It's a
like
form.
vlog style content a lot of times where we go out to the skate park for 10 minutes. The video might be 10 minutes, we might be there for 5 hours, but we put out this sort of like content that it's really expected to be watched once or it's expected to be absorbed in a certain way. Whereas you put out a full length DVD, you're expecting that people are going to watch this 10, 20 times over the course of the next couple of years. You put it on your shelf. That's really what the whole debate boils down to.
Whether it's like meant to last or disposable.
Yeah, it's like the whole debate about like quality content. But then you're forced to deal with the fact that a lot of the quality, old school content of like these really polished full length videos, the number of views that they do on YouTube or whatever, like really pale in comparison to a lot of stuff that's like some kid in his kitchen talking about BMX and then going and riding the skate park or whatever.
It's hard to imagine sitting down and watching like a 45-minute one on your computer. I don't know.
Yeah, but those ones are different style because it's like it's all music. The riding,
Right.
it's edited very tightly. It's very
Right.
professional. But then like the stuff that really does numbers online is the stuff that really relates to the consumer, who's like the average is like a 16-year-old kid.
with a very short attention span.
Exactly. Things have really changed. I know you guys work on TV shows, but you look at like vlog style content. It's very easy for me at this point to understand how a 16-year-old kid gets more out of watching a kid who's his age live his life out on YouTube rather than like go watch a motion picture, go watch a sitcom. It's kind of.
When I was growing up, one of my favorite movies was this movie Rad.
Sure.
We interviewed Crew Jones.
Oh my God!
Yes, he sat right there. He did this interview.
Amazing. Of course you did.
Yeah.
Right.
But embarrassingly, I started riding BMX in 1997, so I hadn't seen it until the
hadn't
morning
seen it
of the
until that
interview,
day. I
and that
watched
was
it
kind of my
so many
gimmick.
times. Did either of you guys
Tell
watch
me about
Rad?
Yeah, I remember. I think it played on HBO a little bit, and I saw it then.
You can't get it on DVD.
You can't get it on
Oh, you
DVD. It's not
can't?
out.
It's something we should work on this together and try to get this film released.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
on VOD.
I watched it, and essentially it's about a BMX race that is corrupt, and that they're trying to keep Crew Jones out of this race because they want somebody else to win.
It's about a small town kid versus the big and
Yes.
conglomerates that are involved in BMX racing.
The big conglomerate.
It's like a doc, or it's like
that is
a
how it's made
drama?
out to be. It's really ridiculous,
it's
and that
great.
somehow he's not going to be able to compete unless he raises $50,000 or whatever.
Is like Schwinn the bad guy or something? Like what's going on here?
Mongoose is the bad
Mongoose.
Is it? Yeah.
Is that right?
Or is
Yeah.
Mongoose his sponsor?
Mongoose is the sponsor of the bad guy.
This is a fictional film with
It's a
screenplay.
fictional film.
Okay, cool.
It's fantastic. It features all of the BMX racers of that era, which
Yep.
should have been like 86.
Yeah, like
don't know.
I interviewed Brian Blyther, who sat right here, and he told us, that he was in the movie, that he almost hooked up with the leading lady. I forget her name. He
almost.
went on a date with her, and then ended up making out with another girl in front of her, and that was the end of that.
That was it.
Yeah, that was the end of that.
It's the kind of work. Do you have any interest in like the Tour de France and that kind of stuff? Do you cross over at all into?
I don't have any like real interest in it, but I am interested in cycling overall, and I do somehow aspire to buy like a single speed bike and just climb hills all day and just get that crazy quad burn. I'm really into that feeling.
Is the tiny motor.
You hear about this scandal? Yeah.
Is that getting into the
What's
BMX
that?
world?
No.
You haven't heard about tiny motors?
They got a tiny motor.
They
That's
do the
so
craziest
lame.
shit when it comes to cheating and just
It's
in general.
unreal.
How much edge does it give you?
Just
Very
enough.
small, but enough.
Just
yeah.
enough.
I mean, we're talking about the
Sliding
tiniest
off
like
seconds.
PEDs, but basically, there's one of the ways they discovered that a lot of people apparently have tiny motors, basically in like what do you call it, the central column? I don't know what you call it of the bike.
I'm not sure where they
Okay.
place them, but yeah, somewhere on the bike.
This I forget, some European news station or something. They used infrared cameras and shot. What do you call it? Cycling in a velodrome or whatever, and all of these columns started lighting up. They're like fucking cheating.
That's awesome.
This is crazy. And a few people have either been officially caught or stepped forward. I think there's
Yeah.
a small handful now.
Yeah, there are a bunch of people.
Now,
getting in
Dave,
trouble
you
now.
kind of like villains and stuff. Is there a part of you that kind of admires Lance Armstrong a little bit? Just the elaborateness of the cheating.
Well,
Yes.
I am all for. I'm basically all for doing whatever you can to win at the expense. If you like, to me, they're all rules should be considered the same. By which I mean, like, if you think it's to your advantage to intentionally walk someone, then you can exploit the rule that way. Just as like, if you think it's to your competitive advantage to take performance-enhancing drugs and risk a 50-game suspension, then you're allowed to do that
that's
too.
interesting.
So the rules are all the same to me. I don't like when people lie about it. If Lance Armstrong had, as soon as he had been caught, although I guess he was caught like even before he really was on his. I don't know.
He got caught a lot of times
He got caught.
and kept denying it on TV.
That's
and
what's
stuff.
tough.
Yeah.
If he had said like, yeah, of course I did, and I won, I did it better than everyone. I'm sorry if you guys believed this whole charade, but basically the system was set up such that if I didn't do this, I would have been foolish. You can penalize me now, but I won these events. If you really insist on taking my things away, that's fine, but I'm already rich and famous, and I'm one of the greatest of all time.
What a great villain attitude.
Yeah. I don't think it's villainous. I think that's like the
Not getting caught and not talking about it is not lying in that case. It's different from lying when you're busted.
totally. Yeah. I mean, it's the same as like what's an example? Like, to me, that's no different than the neighborhood play in baseball where like yeah, I didn't touch second base, but we're going to call him out. If you're going to say, like, hey, you didn't touch second base, then I'll say, like, yep, I didn't touch second base. But until we follow through on the rules.
How about this?
Yes.
Do you have any sisters?
Yeah, I have an older sister.
Say her husband cheats on her, you know about it. Is it like good game? You didn't get caught.
No, there's a moral quality to that.
'Cause
And
that's how I see it. It's like good
That's it.
game.
I see
you
what you're
won.
saying.
You did it. You,
I
you
mean,
succeeded.
your sister's husband, you'd feel that way.
Oh no, not her. But like everybody else on the planet. That's how I feel about myself. Is if I cheat and get away with it, then like okay, I win. Yeah.
I mean, I think I guess you could make a case that, like, well, you're hurting the people who don't cheat, right? That's the reason.
Yeah. And you're facilitating a climate in which drug use will run rampant and make everybody in the sport unhealthy. I've seen this in I've always had a weird interest in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Where you see these guys go through like incredibly horrible physical, side effects from taking all the steroids and insulin and everything. I think like in cycling, it's like much more strictly regulated because in bodybuilding, there is no drug testing unless you compete as a natural bodybuilder. So you do see what happens when drugs are allowed to go haywire.
Like the dudes are just messed
They're
up. looking
gigantic.
and
They're on
monstrous
fucking
and
tons of painkillers
their
all day
balls
to
are
deal with the
minuscule.
side effects. Yeah.
I mean, those things that they're doing are also illegal.
True.
So it's not necessarily up to, like, they're already breaking laws. I'm not sure. I think you could make a case at least that it's not up to the whatever bodybuilding federation.
Is a standard baseball regimen of PEDs legal or illegal?
Well, it depends.
Like, I
which
mean,
ones they
outside
are.
of baseball, if I just started taking whatever A-Rod was taking.
Well, so
Right.
this is another interesting thing is that a lot of times people say that that like it's using steroids and human growth hormone, all these things are like that's what breaks down your body and everything. But my sense is that it's more abusing these things and not using them. A lot of the drugs that these people take are used all the time by people in recovery or coming out of surgery or all sorts of things. I mean,
So Joe Rogan hosts the UFC, commentates on him, and he has said that gets the same like anti-aging treatments that are roughly equivalent to what somebody would be suspended from the UFC for doing. exactly the same thing.
Right.
It's testosterone. You're getting into the clinic. They're athletes, so they're not allowed to do it. He is legally allowed to do it. And maybe a professional athlete would need to do more, but like realistically, a professional athlete's not going to take enough in an ideal world that they would be able to register on the test as having took it. So chances are that they probably are taking an amount that's somewhat similar to his.
Crazy.
So legality is not a very good. It's not a good thing to base debates on, right?
No.
Well,
Not in
I
sport.
mean, it's like it's certainly one of the tools at one's disposal.
Right.
There's a reason we have laws the way we do. They're not just arbitrary like things we've set up. They're supposed to reflect some sort of moral code we have as a country. I'm not
Cocaine
saying-
in the morning is a bad idea.
I wouldn't know.
Tell me more.
Coffee would be way better because I have debated this. I've debated this on like a health level with my friends that like maybe drinking a cup of coffee and doing
Right.
a small amount of cocaine every morning could be comparable, but I think the actual effect would be coffee hits you and lasts a while. Cocaine, it's over in a half hour, an hour.
Well, what if you were like diluting the cocaine into like a tea or something, so it was going to like ease
Interesting.
into
Well,
your...
what the people in Colombia who are like tasked with making cocaine do is they chew the fucking coca leaves, which is like that's closer to like drinking a cup of coffee because the actual way that they make cocaine is essentially like taking thousands and thousands of coca leaves and compressing it into this tiny little thing. So,
It seems a little unnatural.
very so there's a lot of kerosene being used in this process. I watched a documentary about it recently, so they have to use agents to get it out there.
Do you know who Len Bias is? Does that name ring a bell?
It's
From New England.
but he's a athlete.
Yeah, he was a basketball player who
Right.
the Celtics drafted in like 1980. This was like in the middle of their dynasty. They somehow got their hands on like the number 1 or 2 overall pick. I forget which. This kid, Len Bias from Maryland, and he died of a coke overdose after they drafted him. And I was 8 years old at the time, and the story at the time was like, oh, this was the first time he ever did coke, and it killed him because I think this sort of like, I don't want to say myth, but this haven't you ever heard that idea that like, coke kills like 1 out of 10 people the first time they do it, or like people have no.
That was definitely like the story I was told at the time.
I can imagine being told
But it
that
wasn't-
like in
isn't that
8th grade.
true?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
But
I've
he
he
was,
had like a
heard of
fucked
it.
up heart defect or something.
no, he had done a ton of coke before that, and then and he also had some what do you call it? A congenital situation. Or
And then what was
degenerative
up with
heart.
Reggie Lewis?
Reggie Lewis also probably did a lot of coke, and he just passed out and died. But I was so scared by this idea that Len Bias, who was not that much older than me, I mean, he was like 820.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm
scared
never
me
doing
good.
coke,
Yeah,
and
it
I
was-
never have.
That was such
it's
a good,
terrifying.
I bet if you charted like Boston kids about our age,
I've run into
lower
other
coke
kids who
use
say
than others.
kids my age from Boston, like, Len Bias, I get it.
Now, Dredge had a story the other day that he said Hillary Clinton is a cokehead.
Yes,
coke
I
fiend,
saw that.
and I was
That
loving
blows
that.
my mind.
Like day to
in the
day.
best
Blows your
possible
mind.
way.
Yeah.
This is very hard
Now-
to believe. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Did you read the story?
No, it seemed like very dubious sourcing.
Well, the source was one of Bill Clinton's lovers.
Okay.
One of I mean,
Reliable.
this is all just rumor. I feel bad
Yeah,
even
and that it
repeating
was.
this.
She,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead. You tell it. But there was a lot of details in the story. I realized I did read it. One
You
was
did.
that
Yeah,
Bill
you did.
didn't like Hillary didn't like Bill to touch her tits at all.
That's right.
Or
She
play
was
with her breasts.
adamant about stay away from my. What are you doing
What
near my
is
breast?
that about?
That's the weirdest thing I
Yeah.
ever heard. Yeah.
And also, like, is that it seems like that would be a special, I don't know, I'm just guessing that's probably.
You're just
something-
guessing about the
that
nature
that's-
of Bill and Hillary's sexual
that Bill is
relationship
probably
vis-a-vis her
very
breast.
into boobs. Right?
Yeah, I
He's
think
a
that's it.
big
Of course he is.
love
Of
and
course he
life.
is.
Yeah.
So you support the villain though? Were you kind of low key proud of Bill Clinton when he got oral sex from an intern? I
No,
was.
not necessarily.
I
I
was
wouldn't
hyped.
say I was proud of him. I think it was. I mean, I see. Again, people want. Healy always wants to push me into being the side of the rooting for the bad guy.
Right.
black-
But
you're
in
wearing the black
fact,
hat.
I don't. Yes, I'm literally wearing the black hat. But in fact, I'm always on the correct side. And the correct side, unfortunately, is that Bill Clinton, I believe, is a sexual predator who is a serial rapist, and I believe he belongs in jail, and it has not been held accountable for his crimes. His infidelities are one thing, but I think in general, what he's done to women is so horrible that he basically, yes, should
So,
be.
so you've read things that apparently we haven't read about him as a rapist.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
They're all out. I mean, it's not like these are
Yeah. People
classified
choose to
files.
look away, yeah.
I'm basically of the mind that women should be believed when they say that they've been sexually assaulted pretty much unanimously. And
Who do you think is worse to women, Trump or Clinton?
I don't know, man, but probably Clinton.
It might be.
I think so.
Do you think Hillary has done cocaine over under 20 times?
What are we doing, man?
If you've done it once, you've probably done it 20 times.
That's
or more,
probably
yeah.
fair. What do you think? Oh, no, you know what another great part of that? I was like, come on, this is deplorable. But another great detail, do you remember where she got her coke?
No.
You didn't read far enough.
No.
The story claimed that her coke dealer was, do you want to guess who her coke dealer was? It's fantastic. Think about who in the Bill Clinton...
Roger.
There you go, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Roger.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
And that's why she had to tolerate
Roger
him.
got her onto it.
The story was that she hated Roger, but he supplied her coke.
He gave her the coke.
Probably not true.
There's some remote airport in Arkansas, and your real right-wing conspiracy guys are like, all during the Clinton governorship, they were just flying
it in.
Columbia in and out every day.
You want me to blow you guys' mind with a little Clinton trivia?
Please.
Yes.
Please.
That's our favorite thing.
Bill Clinton issued my father a presidential pardon.
Is that true?
Tell us everything.
My dad was instrumental. I shouldn't say instrumental. My dad was involved in Bill Clinton's presidential campaign in New Hampshire, the first primary, whatever, in '92. Wow. So I remember meeting him a bunch of times, and there's pictures of me and my family with him as a kid and everything. And then my dad basically ended up going to jail for a year because he worked as a local alderman, and he also worked for a local construction company, getting them jobs and handling their affairs, blah, blah, blah. His boss ended up getting into shit because it was alleged that he had used my dad's services to get a job from the city for his construction company. My dad basically ended up taking the fall for it, went to jail for a year. Bill leaves office 6 years. I guess he went in 96.
92, 2000.
Okay, well, but my dad went into jail in 95, 96, something like that.
know.
No, you're right. And then it was like all in the newspaper all of a sudden, like, oh, fucking this guy from New Hampshire, he got a presidential pardon because of this, blah, blah, blah. You know, they always do
That's
this.
amazing.
They give presidential pardons for like
Was
40
he-
people or something.
Was he scheduled to spend, if you don't mind me asking, far more time?
No,
in jail?
it was like
Okay.
a year. Like he ended up taking a plea bargain because it was the charges were too big.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you must have, like, if your dad was a New Hampshire politician, you probably met a lot of these guys.
Yes, and you know who else I met? Dick Sweat. Familiar with that name?
Richard Sweat, yeah. Who was that?
He was just like a congressman
But his
or
name was
something.
Dick
But his name was
Sweat.
Dick
Name.
Sweat, and I just remember this very well. Yeah.
Dick Sweat better than Dick Foot.
Oh, that you guys were talking about this guy the other day, yeah.
Dickfoot, man, if Healy, you would love Dickfoot so much. He's got so much civic
us up.
pride. He's a great guy. You know, Roger Clinton also was pardoned by Bill Clinton. I thought I should mention just to close the loop here.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
Debate idea.
Yeah.
It would be better to be Dick Foot than Dick Sweat.
Go all the way. If you're going halfway,
If you're going to climb the tower, you got to ring the bell.
Oh, man.
did any of the other, the kid meeting these politicians, did any of them make a real impression on you where you're like, this guy's a scumbag, this guy's cool?
You know, I just remember thinking at the time of, even as a child, I realized how petty and stupid it was and how the issues that they were discussing were so far off from
Love it.
anything that could actually matter to society.
Clearly.
I remember something that was a really big deal as a kid was that there was a clothing line that somebody had started called like Gang Bang Clothing. And the idea was that this guy took T-shirts in his backyard and fucking shot them with a gun and put big holes in the shirts.
Oh, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, well, I
There are
want to
other
do it as well.
companies
I'd
out
like to
there
shoot. I would like to produce expensive garments by just shooting at a fucking wall. But this was a big thing. Like while my dad was involved in local government, was that they were protesting this, and I remember just thinking, I'm like, how many shirts could they have sold? Like, there's no way that this is a real popular thing. But it was made to be this giant thing. And I remember even as a young child thinking, like, politics is terrible. This is ridiculous. Can I tell you guys about the legend of the bullet?
Yes.
It started yesterday.
Please.
I come in and I interview this guy yesterday, and I noticed that this is sitting right next to him. And I assumed the whole time that he was going to explain this bullet and tell me some crazy story because he was in a gang, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't. And at the end, I go, oh, I forgot to tell you the story about the bullet. And he said, oh, that's not mine. That was just here.
What?
Wow. Cool.
Nobody who works in the store carries a gun that I know of. But now I have a bullet.
What has been now you're way downtown LA, there's a lot of weirdos on the street outside. What has been the weirdest thing that's ever happened here? What is your level of like as you're pioneering of this neighborhood, what's been the wildest stuff that's gone down?
The wildest stuff. Probably the time that one crew of rap adjacent guys showed up while I was interviewing another rapper, and then there was a screaming match outside that involved everybody yelling that they had a gun.
Okay.
That was awkward.
That's
Was a
hairy.
party
That's
like
crazy.
would be terrible, would be huge for the podcast?
it did occur to me like, wow, it sucks that I can't pull out my phone and film this because I'm too close to the,
Right.
you know. That's always how I feel when there's a fight, though. It's like, damn, I want to film this so I can put it on YouTube and get some views, but I also want to get involved. And
Are you around fights that often? I haven't seen a fight.
you go to
happen.
rap shows, you see some shit.
I see fights. Yeah, that makes sense.
I see it, but I was thinking about the other day. I don't think I've been in a fist fight in 3 or 4 years. I'm pretty proud of that.
3 or 4 years is a small number compared to the rest of us.
Yeah, I was soon, but I'm out here. I'm in
you're
the
out
shit.
Yeah, you're out in the shit. I get it.
So, did you guys have anything that stood out to you as like, oh, maybe we should debate this? Action sports related, anything like that? Rap based, drug based, since that seems to be a theme on this podcast.
Let's pull some of the ones off Twitter.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We got a good one from your fans here.
The Wi-Fi password is on some shit 1, all caps. Hopefully, nobody watching this lives within a 1 block radius. Tell us about your merch here, though. The Make America Debate Again hat seems
We
like
made
it's been very
some hats.
controversial.
It came to us. A friend of mine suggested this slogan at the dawn of the Trump candidacy. That we just make some hats, some red hats that say "Make America Debate Again." They're what the experience that most people have wearing them, I think, in liberal areas, and that's a large part of our audience. Let's be real. Is that it's a very difficult garment to wear because people don't really read what it says and they assume that you're a Trump supporter.
Right. The font is different. The text is bigger. I feel like on the Trump hat it was smaller.
There's no mistaking it when you look closely, but that's just it goes to show how few people actually do that.
These are also not for sale, unfortunately.
They're not.
These are fucking special
wow.
swag
Well,
items.
if you come to the On Some Shit store in downtown LA, you could buy one.
There you go.
Theoretically.
If-
They're here.
I mean, you got a couple of them if the price is right. We do have an actual merch store. If you go to greatdebate69.com, you'll see the link for it, where we sell T-shirts
There we
and
go.
stuff.
Do
Nice plug.
you find that there's
Got to do
that
it.
there are a lot of debates that you choose to avoid, like debates that you choose to avoid in your day-to-day life because they're too annoying, too painful to have? Because that's how I feel about a lot of things I believe. Like, I have no patience for religion or astrology, but if a girl brings up astrology on a date, I'm not going to tell her what I actually think about astrology because I feel like it will kill the conversation.
We had an early one where
Yeah.
I think it got Dave pretty mad, where I was defending astrology.
You said the debate was there might be something to astrology.
Yeah.
I had a hot take on astrology recently. I think I tweeted it. I think now my new stance is it's more annoying, or I don't know how I phrase it, but basically I think less of people who enjoy astrology for quote unquote entertainment reasons than people who actually believe in it as a science.
Fascinating.
Because one is
Either if you're going to go to the top of the tower, ring the bell.
yeah, just believe in it. If you think that it's entertaining, then you're in some way you actually do believe that there's something to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing astrology. You know,
Couldn't
you'd
you just be
doing
like a narcissist who loves reading? Even a random prediction about your life is fun to read and exciting. And
yeah, well, okay. So then,
see if
I
this
prefer
lines up with what
idiots to
happened.
narcissists, I guess is what I'm saying.
But that's like when people discuss religion, a lot of people come back to like, oh, well, it helps me live a better life. And, I think that
Sure.
I go to a church and
Sure.
everybody's super nice to each other. And you're like, I
Does
get
a lot
that.
of great things.
That's not the debate. The debate is what the
Right.
true nature of the universe is. And that has almost nothing to do with
hey,
it.
I want to ask you: you're as a serious rap fan, like, have you heard any of Hamilton?
My mom was
great
telling me about
question.
it because
Yeah.
my mom's obsessed with Broadway plays since like
Yeah.
the day it came out. She's been talking about it. She's seen it a couple of times, and I heard on the New York Times Popcast with John Caramonica. I heard them discussing it real early on. I myself, I would like to know what I would think of it.
Have
I
you
would like to see it.
Have you heard any rappers like it or dislike it at all?
I've heard like white people who work for websites or magazines discuss it.
We
but
all know
even
white
then,
people
like,
love Hamilton. There's
Right.
no mystery there.
I don't think most rappers seem to know much about the Broadway scene, and it would take a lot to get them interested. Maybe if you had maybe if you had Puff Daddy acting in it,
Right.
Yeah.
or something along those
Right.
lines, then that I could see bringing it over on.
yeah.
Because how does a rap blog talk about Hamilton in a way that would be in any way
It would
entertaining?
be so weird.
It would have to be something controversial. If the
Yeah.
staff or the cast of Hamilton, it was revealed that they were having one of those like racist parties that they always hear about frat kids having.
Yes.
That might do
The
it.
cast of Hamilton had a pimps and hoes or whatever.
Yeah, I could see that.
Mexicans and INS.
Or like, did you see they were playing beer pong, but the beer pong thing was made out of a big swastika?
No,
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
what are you
problematic.
going to do?
Whatever. You're in college.
I didn't really understand how that. I was like, you don't seem like you know much about college kids because it really seems obvious to me that college kids would think that was funny.
We really just got away with not. There was no way to monitor
of course,
or photograph or do anything.
Oh, you mean just because of our
time.
We were just at the border.
We just missed
right?
the window.
5 years and we'd be fucked. Okay, the hottest topic I think anyone sent in is Thugger, Kodak, Future, and 21 Savage are in the upper pantheon of rappers.
So the argument there, those are all like new modern rappers. The argument would base. Oh, so this is what I thought was actually a good one, and it's kind of based on that. Is rap's best days are behind it.
Oh.
Ooh.
I mean, we're so out of our element.
I don't
man.
Totally,
Let's do it though. I'll take the con
Because it's kind of theoretical. I mean, I can.
take the
Okay,
pro.
rap's best days
whale
are
out
behind
here.
us. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Wait, remind me what
You're
rap
taking
is
the
again?
pro.
What's rap
rap's-
music?
Rap music is.
I'm joking. Rap's best days are behind us.
Yeah.
Like most art forms, the best days
Crazy
are
already.
going to be the first decade or so, the first wave. That's when they got it best. Look at the artists who have already come and gone within the rap world. I don't have to name all of them, but Biggie, Tupac, Nas, the early innovators like fucking the guys, Grandmaster Flash, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, all of the rappers and the rap guys. We're never. Here's the problem: is that rap has become too almost amorphous. There's too much. Pure rap barely exists anymore. So everything is some sort of hybrid of rap, where rap has become so infused with R&B and hooks, and it's too based on making hits. Whereas rap used to be more about actually spreading a message, saying something positive, or actually just representing where you're from.
so bad.
That's no longer the case. Much like the days of rock and roll or ragtime, if you will, to go back as far as that, the early wave is always the best. That's why the best days of rap are behind us.
Now I am Wonder Mike, and I'd like to say hello. And I'm black and white, and the purple and the red, the purple and yellow. That was like. That blew people's minds.
Still
That's
great.
what early rap is, and it sucks so bad. It's like cave paintings to us. Like the art has exploded to be so much better. Like any rap song on the radio now is easily 10 times better than that.
That's not true.
how fast rap is improving. Rap is going to get better and better and better. It's going to, like most art forms, it probably has about 100-year lifespan. And we're in year, 30? I mean, we haven't even hit the mid-peak.
I'll actually grant you that I am not personally a fan of the first, let's say, 5 years or so of mainstream rap. But I believe that there was a sweet spot that happens from somewhere in the early 80s through the late 90s where you get an actually pretty diverse sound of rap music ranging from LL Cool J through sort of like Hypnotize era Biggie. That to me is the golden era. I mean, you're really going to tell me that Hypnotize isn't better than any rap song on the radio today, or the first couple Jay-Z albums, or actually it doesn't have to be the first one. Jay-Z's already recorded all his albums.
Any Jay-Z song is better than Hypnotize. So right there, rap is making progress.
You're on the wrong side, dude. That's behind us. Jay-Z's behind us. That's 2016.
That's basically where
you think the next Jay-Z album is going to be better than the Blueprint?
No, but
You're
I think
crazy.
the next Jay-Z who comes along is going to blow Jay-Z out of the water. I mean, we aren't going to even be talking about Jay-Z when we hear from, I don't know, Neon X, the next guy who's coming down the pike. I
Oh,
don't know
that
what his
made
name
me
is.
sad, man. Did you say Neon X?
Neon X.
But it's ironical.
What?
The next rapper is going to be so amazing that we'll forget about Jay-Z.
The next rapper.
Yeah.
So we're still working on one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so hard
Rap
not to
is
talk
getting
during
better
this.
and better and better. People's
What's your favorite
There's
rap
gonna be
song of all time?
international-
What's your favorite rap song of all time?
There's
Must be
gonna
on the
be a-
radio right
there's
now.
gonna be a
What's your favorite
Chinese-
rap song of all time? Must be on the radio right now.
There's gonna be a Chinese-
What's your favorite rap song?
There's gonna
What's
be-
your favorite rap song?
There's going to be a Chinese
What's your favorite
rapper.
rap song?
There's going to be a Chinese rapper who's going to blow every English rapper out of the water. It's
You know
gonna be
what
so incredible.
you know what the Jeff Ross joke is about this?
What?
His name is Reminem. What's your favorite rap song of all time? I'm sorry I took the wind out of your sails.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's an actual joke of his. I
Reminem?
wasn't. Yeah, it's a 15-year-old joke of his.
What
At
is
the
that?
time, it was funny.
What is it to play? That's not even how they mispronounce stuff.
What's your favorite rap song?
I don't
of
know. I like
time?
all those Eminem songs. They're
Okay,
cool.
those are behind us.
Yeah, but the next
That's
guy
behind
will,
us, man.
The next white rapper will be unbelievable. I mean, think of the progression of white rappers, right?
next white-
Who was the first white rapper at all?
Vanilla Ice was probably the most
Okay, Vanilla Ice.
culturally significant.
And we all thought that was okay. We were into it. At
We
the time.
did?
You thought it was cool at the time. Then the Eminem blows Vanilla Ice out of the water.
Well,
right?
Third Base came along and did some stuff.
That's
Was he
the
white?
amount of
Did he count?
That's the leap
Gas
of
face?
improvement
Yeah,
that we're
he
still
counts.
making.
He's a white
We're
guy.
still making those leaps, and the next guy's going to make a leap that will be equivalent from Eminem that Eminem did from Vanilla Ice.
I think that I understand
The curve of rap
This is
goes
a
forever
hypothetical
up.
argument, right? But I
Yeah.
think that if you look at other art forms, specifically music forms, you'll
Yeah.
find that that's not the case. The first 20 years of rock and roll is unparalleled in terms of its
No, the first
influence,
20 years
its
of rock and
sound.
roll is like Bill Haley and shit. It
No,
sucks.
that's 1955. Take it
Yeah.
through 1975. You get the Beatles, you get Cream, you get the best Stones, you get Dylan, you get all of the
We
best
haven't
rock and
had
roll of
Pearl
all
Jam
time.
yet, you
Yeah,
know,
and
like-
Pearl Jam is great. I
And
mean,
then
to some
Radiohead,
people.
you know, new technology getting in there.
Oh wow, new technology?
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds cool. Do you think new technology is going to help rap?
I think that the possibilities for connecting and developing your art and working with other people will allow a blossoming and a renaissance of rap that will be unlike anything we've ever
I
seen.
strongly disagree. I believe that new technology, if anything, has centered. Hold on a second.
One to Mike.
Has-
Gonna-
new technology.
No, that's what you like. You're still like
what the
sitting
state
there thinking
of
about how great that
what
is.
this I already stipulated with you that song's not that great. I don't care about that song. What technology and the state of the music industry has done has made the hook the most important part of the song, and that in and of itself is counter to what I believe makes rap good,
possible
which
that,
is
like,
excellent
pop-
lyricism.
sort of pop rap-
It's long verses, the hook, the chorus, if you will, the hit factory that has infiltrated not only pop music but rap music as well is to the detriment of rap, and that's why one of the
Very
reasons
traditional
among
outlook.
many that I've
It's
articulated
such a
that the
traditional
best of
outlook.
rap is behind
Actually,
us.
what's happening is we're going back and forth. That so-called hit factory and hip hop are overlapping more than ever before.
Can I hear some
What is
examples of
rap
that?
will be broadened beyond definition. Look, who can argue that Iggy Azalea is one of the greatest rappers of all time, right? She's from Australia. That's how the
think a
world,
lot of people could
that's
argue
how
that.
the world of rap expands.
Comment
and
if you
expands.
disagree.
We haven't even tapped the world of great African rappers. Once we start,
Yeah, we have.
It's weird that it's been mostly white. That you've chosen to like use white rappers as the landmarks
that's
throughout
because
rap.
those are the only people I know. But as
Healy's family is good at rapping.
Africa's
Healy's
experiencing
friends.
an economic boom that's going to blow up in the form of art as well as just economics. Now everybody in Africa has a phone they can record on.
okay, yeah.
Suddenly we're going to see explosions of artistic creativity. I can't wait myself.
I
But
can't wait for
if
it
you want to
either.
keep listening to, whatever, Tupac, have fun. I'm going to be exploring the wonderful new frontiers that are going to be opened across the hip hop and rap worlds. We may not even be able to identify it as rap. It's going to be so interesting and new and novel.
But then it's not rap.
No, it'll be.
You can't. You just
Words
defeated
over
your own
beats.
art will
argument.
morph.
I'm sorry.
The art will morph.
Yeah, but if you just said if we don't identify, we may not even identify it as rap.
Well, someone's a simpleton like you, but like once the world of criticism
Felt like a cheap
helps
shot.
us to like bring this to us, say this is part of the canon of rap. Include this in rap. That'll be great.
It's really hard for me to imagine that listeners of this podcast are going to be like convinced to listen to our podcast.
No, but I think that
by what we just talked about.
they'll hear this and they'll be kind of like, oh, so they argue things that they don't necessarily know about. That's tight.
exactly.
Maybe when they
They did
know
it.
what they're
less we know,
talking
the
about.
better.
Pretty good job of arguing something that you know nothing
Well,
about.
what do you think? Do you think rap is getting better?
Well, can we hear Medina's take first?
Medina,
I'm sorry.
You're the mod.
Look, here's the thing. I actually believe that the era of the hook in rap, and this is just my take as a very
Yeah.
casual listener, is kind of behind us and really
You might be
falls
right.
into that late 90s.
I think you're right. The Hype
period.
Williams era.
Now we're in the era
The
of the
radio
verse.
era.
We're in the
Radio
era,
era.
era of the verse, I think.
era.
We're post radio in a lot of ways, you know.
We're post radio.
Because if you look at a lot of the album, like look at Drake's album, it's like the best selling album of the year. It's not single oriented at all.
Right.
And there's so much guesting that happens, and the way that you build
guesting.
your stature as a rapper is by inserting verses on other rappers' albums or mixtapes or whatever, and then your popularity grows, and then finally you've got an album of your own. But like the verse is kind of central, which actually suggests that like the quality of the person's rapping, versus
Right.
their hooking or whatever you want to call it, or composition,
Hooking.
is better. Hooking is
Prostituting yourself.
Hooking is not the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Is better. I mean, it's so much more sophisticated and interesting now than it was 30 years ago.
Do you think a Kanye presidency will be good or bad for rap?
couldn't be anything but good for the relevancy of the art form. Would it ultimately have a negative impact?
The pendulum
Possibly.
sometimes when it swings.
Yeah.
I would like to say that this is like the quintessential debate about rap music that has been going on throughout time, and that of course I side with Helly because I'm a fan of the new, but I do think that the interesting part about it is the historical revisionism that goes on. Like you mentioned Hypnotize, which now people will look at, it's a hip hop classic. At the time, it's very hard for people to remember this. Biggie was looked at as a mainstream artist, the opposite of an underground artist. He was looked at as a dude who made hooks. He made big poppy records. He had Puff Daddy in the video. Before he died and before we had some kind of perspective on history, it was, he was seen as kind of like, he was bringing in a new era of rap music that was completely antithetical to Run DMC and Public Enemy and all these other things that existed before. So
Maybe you can bring some insight to me. I live over on near Fairfax, like right near Supreme.
Okay.
And
Supreme.
it is just
Supreme.
What is going on there? Are those guys over? Is it getting bigger than ever?
Supreme is really, if you look at the history of like streetwear brands, they're the most iconic. They've always managed to preserve their image through producing relatively low qualities, charging relatively low prices. They're still just as big or bigger than ever. Yeah.
Do they have like flash sales and stuff? Is that why there's always lines?
They
and
almost
stuff?
no. It's like new release drops, so you have to wait outside to get it and stuff. They probably almost never put anything on sale because they just sell out everything.
Oh, but that's why there's like lines and stuff. Is new release.
Yeah. So if you go on YouTube and you search Supreme Resellers Complex documentary or something, Complex did like a multi-part series where they show all these guys in New York who that's their whole job is that they wait outside Supreme, they pay people to wait outside Supreme, and then they resell the stuff on eBay or whatever.
I feel like we must sound like Estonian tourists who just happen to speak fluent English
great.
or
That's
something.
cool.
I think that's cool.
Like, tell us about this thing that is very common in our area.
That's like Tom Wolfe. He says like he wears that white suit. He's like, I want to seem like a man from Mars. That everything
Right.
has to be explained to me at its most basic.
I love
That's
when I'm listening to you guys argue and then I realize that you don't really know what you're talking about. It's such like a little Easter egg to realize
They
that
never have any idea what they're talking about.
they actually
But
don't
there's
know
enough
yeah.
common
common
grabbing
sense
at
stuff.
facts that sound credible.
And that's really what it's like arguing in real life, because how many times have you found yourself in a vigorous debate with somebody that you didn't really believe in
That's
your
right.
perspective that
I
strongly?
hope we're teaching the skills of arguing when you have no facts
and the
or
pleasure of
solid
doing
ground.
so. I once went to the Museum of Natural History with some friends, a couple of which were older and wiser. And we happened upon an exhibit, and one person threw out a theory about something, and then said, "Dan, what do you think?" And I said, "I don't know." And then she looked at me shocked and just said, "You just missed an incredible opportunity to bullshit." And it was like a mortal sin,
Yeah.
So
It really is. It's something I feel like that. Do you guys feel like that's like a dad move that like your dad has to? Maybe this is just my dad, but like if you don't know the answer to something, a dad will make it up.
yes.
Or am I off base here?
Older
Healy, your
people I
dad's
know,
a
yeah.
judge. He doesn't.
He doesn't make
He
stuff
doesn't
up,
make it
but
He doesn't traffic
I look
in
forward to that
uncertainty.
as a dad and making up
I plan to make a
nonsense.
lot of stuff up.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
The kids are going to be years of
I'm practicing
unwinding
now.
the lies. I've
So,
made.
do you think it's damaging to tell a child that Santa Claus is real?
Yes, 100%.
Have you discussed this?
100% is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I completely think it's fucked up. Yeah.
We're lying to children. It's awful. It's deplorable.
It's a weird
the
thing,
Best.
yeah.
Fantasy's the best.
That is such a good education. That's such a key part of a child's
That
education.
your parents are liars and that they will lie to you for
if
years.
the
There's an
idea-
elaborate complex. It's not
Then any fantastical storyteller is a liar, and that's
Yeah.
just not okay.
learning
to
that
believe.
That's-
lying and fantasy, that there's some gray area there, that
It's
there's
difference
some
so
play,
between
crazy.
fiction
and the
and
little
lies.
wink that you can hear in people's voices when they talk about
I mean,
it.
you've been
Kids
you've been
don't understand
institutionalized to think
winks
it's
like
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's how they come to understand.
There's a reason that in all other forms of fiction and fantasy, we tell the people this is a book, this is a story. We say this is a story. You don't say that with
Do you
Santa
think
Claus.
do you think it's wrong at the beginning of Fargo when they say based on true events? Like, do you think that's filmmaking?
No, that's for
lying?
grown-ups. People understand. I mean,
But a lot of people probably thought, yeah, the guy
I
that
don't.
put
I
wood
don't
chippers
know
and
that
stuff.
much about Fargo, whether or not it is based on true
It's
events.
not.
then
all.
They said it was just to make the story more.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I think
That's
a
fine.
lot of kids have a memory of a time that they heard something that was said in jest by an adult and they believed it, and it had a damaging effect on them growing up for a significant
Absolutely.
period of time. Because
Absolutely.
as a kid, you don't have any kind of filter to process sarcasm or exaggeration or any of these conversational tools that we
And
use.
Santa Claus is one of the ways that you learn to develop that. Over the years, you kind of figure out, you gather clues, and then you look back on your life and say, "Oh, I was misled in this way. It was all in good
then
fun,
you
but
have
now
a
I
rite
know
of
how to.
passage.
All
I
of
now
these
I know how to
skills-
navigate the adult world a little bit better."
As a
All-
parent, though, you're putting
Anderson-
yourself on the wrong side of it.
so-
You don't want to be the one lying to your kid. You want somebody else to be the one lying, and then you get to right the wrong.
Were you lied to about Santa Claus?
Yes,
and you were pissed.
And when I found out, I felt like a fucking idiot. And
you felt like it's just a ruse.
Yeah.
Can I tell you
See,
something?
when I found out, I felt like a genius because I just figured it out.
Yes.
I was
you
like-
guys were smart enough to figure it out. A lot of
Nah.
people have it exposed for them, and it's very traumatic. And I would also say that the skills that you are talking about, like putting puzzles together or reading into subtle hints and winks, are skills that could be developed through things other than lying to children. I was told at a very young age that Santa Claus isn't real, and I thank my parents for doing that. I'm not Jewish, but I was raised Jewish, and so my parents told me that Santa Claus was fake. But I believed I think I've talked about this before.
You've got to write a memoir called "I'm Not Jewish."
I'm thinking-
I
that's
think
great.
people would
Just
the I'm
not
Not
Jewish.
Jewish movement would rally.
Well, I've thought about
huge.
making a documentary series where I'd go to like rabbis and stuff and be like, can I not be Jewish? And they're like, I'm sorry if your mother's Jewish.
Yeah, I told you we should go to Israel and film you trying to get out of it.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
I
need
hate
it.
that argument of like, oh, he's Jewish because that's what Jewish law says. And I love the fact that you said, who gives a fuck about Jewish
That's
law?
exactly
Why would
right.
we let that govern anything?
Thank
Made up
you.
law.
Jewish law is
great.
far more irrelevant than than
Yes!
U.S. law.
There's not even a code. Who's keeping track of the law?
Like, I think that, like, oh, this is illegal in the United States right now is a bad argument for why something is wrong.
Right, but it's not nearly as bad
Jewish
as
law
this is Jewish law.
far more removed
me-
from our set of values.
is there
yeah.
like what's the equivalent of a Jewish? There's got to be some kind of Supreme Court kind of thing.
Oh, we gotta get there.
Yeah.
We gotta get to the head like Talmudic court.
Yes, there's got to be some guys.
I just wanted to say about Santa Claus. I didn't believe in Santa Claus, but I was a huge wrestling fan as a
too.
kid. I loved it. And I was not smart enough to put it together that it was fake. And when I found out that it was fake, I was devastated.
Cried my eyes out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't believe that adults had I couldn't understand. And my friend Jesse
you really thought like when Hulk Hogan was talking to who's the guy in the bow tie that was like the
Vince McMahon.
When we were kids.
Or who was
Mouth of South
he had a
Heart.
little mustache?
Oh,
sort of the
Mean Gene
announcer.
Okerlund.
Yeah. And you thought when
Gene,
Hulk was
yeah.
talking to him, there was no element of playing it up. You thought that was all
I
completely
thought that
genuine.
he was a showman, but I didn't think that it was staged and orchestrated and
Hey, well,
scripted.
what's the difference between a showman and whatever?
What do you,
when you went to
are
see,
you serious?
When you
I
went
didn't
to
think
see,
it was different because I
Flight
watched.
of the Navigator, did you think that really
I never
happened?
saw Flight of the Navigator, but
Okay,
when I
but-
watched football and I saw people celebrating a touchdown, I thought they were showmen of a certain kind too. But that wasn't scripted. How as a 9-year-old was? Are you blaming me for not picking up on the fact
A
that?
little bit. I think you should have been like
For
I
not
was
being
so
not having like a
young.
nuanced view of like what real combat would
it's
look like.
for.
The
The
between
dividing
adults.
line here is those who figured out that Santa Claus wasn't real and
so.
those who were told, I think.
You-
We're idealists.
When you see a guy break a 2x4 over another guy's back, what are you supposed to believe other than that's
And
the way people settle their differences?
You know, the real tell in wrestling is the indifference of the refs. The refs are not helping to keep the match
Right.
fair at all.
know what?
That didn't dawn on
It's
you?
a great point. Can I say something? If officials in other sports actually did their jobs well, I might have been a little keener to it. But you got NBA refs making a big show out of tossing guys out of games and stuff. Refs didn't seem to actually be arbiters of fair play in any way.
Do you think there's... Sorry, go ahead.
You're a kid. You don't really
You're
know
a
what the
kid.
fuck is going on.
Your
You're thinking
dad is telling you that it's
You're-
a wrestling
and these
match.
are
Why would you-
caricatures of masculinity. They're this big, and you're
Yes,
watching them next to a ref who's
absolutely.
this big, and you think, yeah, sure, he overpowers them. Why not? You know,
You're doing what
my
adults are telling
my
you.
dad may have guided me quite skillfully
See,
with wrestling. With
I wish my dad had done the same.
Okay.
I had to have my mom tell me because
on my own.
Hulk Hogan got his face burned backstage at WrestleMania by like some dude who was like a caricature of fucking Saddam Hussein.
Oh,
And,
yeah, the Iran Sheik.
yes.
Iron Sheik, not the Iran
He
Sheik.
threw fire at his face somehow. He like burned his
scary.
face, and then like I saw him on TV a couple days later, his face wasn't burned. I said to my mom, I'm like, how is that possible? She had to tell me, it's not real. Like, you got to smarten up. And I cried and I argued with her, and then I found out. And
How old about?
I think I was 6, 7, 8. I don't know.
I wish I had been that young, man.
I think I was in 1st or 2nd grade. I forget.
Should there be pro wrestling that's real?
Yeah, UFC, right?
There is.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I guess UFC.
I love the
and
UFC.
Olympic
What do you think of UFC?
I like
have no interest
seeing a
in
guy on the ground, and I like boxing a lot, but a guy on the ground. I know that boxing is like worse for you than UFC.
It rubs people the
but
wrong way.
getting punched over and over again. It's something about being back in the schoolyard and the
I think I'm taking on
humiliation.
Medina like qualities with my voice and stuff now that I'm like sitting here
God willing,
listening to you two. Like, it's like when you're arguing with your girlfriend and she gets real crazy, so you get real normal.
Mellow out. Yeah, you mellow
It's
out.
kind of like that. You see these titans going against each other. You just want to fall back and just, I'll observe. Okay.
I think that the star of the show is obviously Medina. We're just here to. It's weird to like. The show is getting a guy to a place of complete mellowness.
But you guys both work in entertainment, and he told me he was just going to get his real estate license tomorrow.
I'm gonna go take my test tomorrow.
Oh, that's I didn't know you were doing that.
Yes,
man.
it's
that's
like,
awesome.
It's sort of coincidental that it happened this week. But
Are you ready?
I sort of. It's like every other test I've ever taken in my life, where most of the studying is going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
Later.
After the 2 beers.
Yeah, after the couple beers.
Do you think if you saw somebody cribbing in the test, you're just going to let that
Am I going to
slide?
blow the whistle?
Yeah,
Hell
of course
no,
not.
of course
No.
not.
You're gonna snitch.
Cribbing.
Would you, if you think
They don't have anything to do with. There's no curve, so it doesn't.
Right. They're not hurting you. You know what little Esther's philosophy is?
what?
Always tattle. That's one of her rules
Really?
of life. Yes.
She
But
wouldn't
she
do well in
also
the
told me
streets.
about comedy, eyes on your own paper.
Well, yeah. That's. Well, I think those are consistent, actually.
I guess, but eyes on, yeah.
Don't cheat, and if you cheat, I'm going to tell you.
Always tattle.
I'm gonna tell it, not
When's
you.
the last real life tattle situation that came
That
up?
Esther's done.
Oh well, she got people kicked off a plane.
What?
Because they
Wow.
we were
For writing equations?
no, that story was crazy, man. But I could totally see that could have been if Esther had been sitting next to
She might have been the
she
one.
might
yeah.
tell it.
She would be the one to have a Muslim person thrown off a plane.
Here's what happened. We were
Okay.
flying. I'll try to keep this brief. We were flying to Seattle. A bunch of us were, a bunch of the parks and rec writers, and Esther was coming with because we were going to the Bumbershoot Festival. There was a panel up there. On the plane were about 4 or 6 bachelorette partiers who were drunk and loud.
What kind of bachelorette is in Seattle?
Well, they had some hookup to some like private island in Puget Sound or some shit, and they were bragging about it, going like, we get half the island just to ourselves, and it's fucking amazing. And they were wearing hats, personalized hats that said Sun Shenanigans on the hats.
Okay.
It was summer. And then they were like really loud and a little too much. Someone said something to the stewardess, not Esther, and then the stewardess came over to the Sun Shenanigans people and was like, "Is everything okay here?" And the girls were like, "Totally, we're switching seats because what Lisa's going to take Ellen's seat, so it's totally fine. We're just switching." And then it's like, and what they didn't, the stewardess did a bad job. She should have said, I made this story way too long. I'm
No, it's
sorry.
great. I love
The
it.
stewardess should have said, like, I'm giving you a warning. You guys are behaving a little
Fair
too loud
warning.
and inebriated. Instead, she was like, is everything okay here? I just want to, Then they kept being super loud. Esther climbed over me and went to a stewardess to say something again, and 2 of them got kicked off the plane. Once there's a second complaint, I guess they were like, the stewardess was like, I'm sorry, you need to come off the plane. We have multiple complaints about you. Esther was treated as a hero by everyone else on the plane.
Well, it's all about public opinion at the end of the day.
Yes, yeah. Like Joe Mandy and everyone else was like, yes, fuck it. And then the girl on their way out of the plane, the 2 girls who got kicked off were like, it's the hats. Take your hats off. Like they thought the hats were the identifying mark.
The hats weren't helping.
No.
You know,
Anyway,
I
always tattle.
I tried to fight somebody on a plane one time, but my friend held me back,
Jesus.
so I didn't have
What
to
was
do
going
it.
on?
that.
Walk us through it.
He was drunk, red-haired. I was flying to Estonia, which you already mentioned Estonia,
Hey,
which is very
wow.
strange.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very strange.
But I was flying there to judge a BMX contest with my friend Catfish, and there's this drunk-ass dude, Swedish guy, red hair. And what he was doing at first that was really pissing me off is he was there was like an Indian guy sitting in front of him, and he was poking the back of the guy's seat. And I think at one point he used the word faggot to like. He's basically picking on like a really docile, like the last person on earth that you should be trying to pick a fight with. He looked like a
Indian guy going to Estonia for what?
Right, and why you're starting a fight on a plane? This makes no sense. Blah blah blah. And so my friend Catfish starts arguing with him. I'm kind of like completely removed from this. I was sleeping at one point. I wake up. I realize this is going on, and then the guy actually started poking my friend Catfish in the arm, and that was the moment where I fucking undid my seatbelt and jumped out and tried to. Basically punched this guy, like dived across multiple people, but Catfish and this old man who was sitting behind me grabbed me and held me back so I didn't get in trouble. And then this guy gets basically, I think he got arrested when we got off the plane because he had been picking on so many people.
Man, Catfish to the rescue.
Catfish did help out.
That's crazy.
It was good. I probably would have got arrested in Sweden.
What's the scene in Estonia?
They do a BMX contest every year. That's like a real big deal. Yeah,
Good times.
It's good times in the Estonian girls, man. Let me tell you, you go out there, you're an American, you're in, you're out there.
What?
It's crazy.
Estonia.
How does Catfish feel about the show Catfish? What is his relationship with his nickname since the show came out?
He had that nickname for like 10 years before, and I don't think he really feels any particular way. But I will say that Catfish legitimately believes, it seems that he believes that the world is flat, that the earth is flat.
Oh, cool. That's the ultimate contrarian
Let's talk
take.
about that.
It's
cool.
rough,
It's the
man.
ultimate.
It's rough
That's tough.
to be friends with him. We kicked him out of the group chat for talking about it too much at one point.
Should that be our going out debate?
No, there's no debating it. You can't argue that that's absurd.
Man, I'd love to try.
Try it.
I'll let. Do you want to try to make an argument? I mean,
I'll
I'm not
take the
going
world
to.
is flat. Yeah.
No,
like
I'm
you to
not even
try
going to
it.
argue against it. Just tell me why you think the Earth is
I'm
flat.
going to go pee real quick. Are you guys going to be okay?
Yeah, we'll just talk about
fire away.
We'll
flat
talk
Earth.
about the Earth.
Talk about the earth and it's flat.
I don't know what we're doing.
Well, look outside your window.
Oh God.
Get to a tall building. Do you see any kind of curvature? No, the end emerges at about the 20-mile limit where you can't see anymore. But the world is not round. It is a flat disc.
What are you doing? You know this. What are you doing?
I don't know. We're debating, right?
But the reason that you can't see the horizon, that there is a
No,
horizon.
that's not true. The reason why you can't see the horizon is because your eyes can only see so far. If the Earth's flatness cannot be seen with your naked eye just because your eyes are somewhat limited. If you had infinite vision, you would be able to see to the end of the world, China.
How come I can see stars then?
Well, the stars are above us as the disk of the Earth, much like a coin, rotates
So you
in
believe
space.
you believe that the Earth is flat but disc shaped?
It's like a coin, yeah. We're on one side, China's on the other.
That's your take?
Yeah.
I've never heard that theory
Yeah, it's
before.
He's using a pog that I found in
Yeah.
a bag of like Japanese Doritos to demonstrate this as well.
So really, you're
There are two sides to the Earth. That's why we have round eyes and Asian people
Oh
have
no!
slanted eyes.
No, buddy.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's not a good thing to debate because we were talking. Catfish
What are
agreed.
catfish arguments?
I have never really heard him out, to be honest, but I did hear him, or he agreed to go because his girlfriend won't let him post about it on Instagram because her dad is an astronomer. Which, imagine being an astronomer, you went to school for fucking
my
10 years.
God.
for this shit.
Catfish.
And your daughter brings home a guy that thinks that the Earth is flat.
And his girlfriend's black, so I'm assuming that the dad is blacker than her, and that is really funny to imagine too. Is this presumably in my mind he looks like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he's arguing with Catfish who's about 4 feet tall, and
Well, catfish, you can tell by the way the sun orbits the.
yeah, just where do you even begin? Hey, what do you think of this? I was watching a Christopher Hitchens thing one time where a guy stands up in the crowd to ask a question, and he just basically goes on a rant about 9/11 conspiracy stuff, and Christopher Hitchens just shuts him down and goes, "You're not allowed to say that. We're not going to let this debate go there." That was interesting to me because I'm on his side for sure. I don't think 9/11 was a conspiracy, but there's something that's going to do to the audience where they're going to watch that and they're going to say, "Oh, he's trying to silence this voice."
Well, what was the debate ostensibly about? Like, do you
I think it
remember?
was a Q&A session, so it wasn't really a debate per se.
Yeah.
But the fact that he refused to engage this guy.
There's probably a slightly more like diplomatic way to say like I don't believe you. I don't believe what you're saying for 100,000 different reasons, and it's just not worth
too
getting into
tiresome.
now. But to dismiss someone out, I see what you're saying. It's only going to raise the suspicions of people who already believe those.
Have you seen the video that's called "Boo Ben Knopf"? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, it's amazing.
It's one of
I was going to ask for recommendations for other debates that might be on YouTube or anything.
Well,
because-
Well, I bring it up to get back. I'll get back to 9/11 protesters in a sec. But there's a video you can watch on the internet called "Boo Ben Knopf," and it's like this kid who's probably 28, and he's declaring his candidacy for like city council in, I think, Toledo, Ohio, or something. And he's in a park, and he's got his supporters around him, and he's going, "Yeah, I'm running for." But then you can hear a guy
and see.
Yes.
go,
And
"Boo,
Yeah.
boo, Ben Knopf, boo, liar!" And then finally the camera pans over to just this bearded, drunk ass hillbilly.
Isn't he like on his front
He's on
porch
his
or
like
something?
porch on like a
He's-
second floor condo, and he's ruining this guy's announcement.
he-
And the guy
can't do anything
The guy,
about
he
it.
has no idea what to do. There's no solution. And
well,
well,
as you can hear, we have a vocal community.
how about
and-
I
or
talk and then
whatever.
you get to talk? Okay, is that fair? And then there's like a 7-year-old girl who's like giving him advice, and it's terrible. And I watched that video, and then I'm like, okay, that's a guy who shouldn't be in public office. He just doesn't. This situation would not happen to Bill Clinton.
Right.
So then I went to Google like Bill Clinton heckler, and you can see a 9/11 guy step to Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton just
Destroys.
alpha energy. It's not even the words. It's just like there's a boss in this room, and it's me, and you get out of here. And that is not what Ben Knopf has.
Right. Boo, Ben Knopf, boo. The guy's so half-assed about it, and it defeats
It's
this
just
milquetoast
hopeless.
guy.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch this. This sounds
Another-
hilarious.
Loses
Another-
the election right there.
Another interesting debate, I think, that Healy and I found was if you like Hitchens, Hitchens' brother.
Right, you mentioned this, but I don't think I checked
You
it out.
gotta
Yeah,
watch
okay,
it. It's
yeah.
so weird. So it's Peter Hitchens debating Fred star Matthew Perry about whether drugs are addictive or not. And I don't believe what Peter Hitchens is saying, but he just destroys
I
Matthew
watched
Perry.
this, yeah.
It's so
painful.
weird.
Perry can barely articulate his
Yeah, it's kind of rough. But if you go, the Peter Hitchens rabbit hole is an interesting one to go down because he's like the poor man's contrarian who like clearly like very overshadowed and like bitter, I think, to a certain extent about his brother's success.
Did you read Hitch 22, Hitchens' memoir?
Yes.
He says that Bill Clinton was always eating pot brownies, and that's why he could say he didn't inhale.
That's fucking great.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
What a
it is.
amazing.
Clintonian solution to the problem.
Amazing.
I went back, like I went through this Hitchens phase where I had to read everything he wrote, and it's just when I go back and look at it now, I'm like, man, this guy really wrote like this. Like he really did every single thing that he could possibly do
Yeah.
to make the average person have no fucking idea what he was talking about.
Oh man, that's so true. I listened to the audiobook of one of his what is it? What's the fucking collection of essays he wrote?
God is not great.
No, God is not great. I read, but it was like it's one of the ones that's just basically a collection of his magazine articles.
Right, yeah.
It's like oh fuck, what is it called? I don't know. It's got an ellipsis in the title, I think. Anyway, there's like he just like dives right into like the politics of Indian literature,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the? Come on, man, throw me a bone here. I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Everything goes back to Shakespeare.
Yeah,
Everything,
yeah,
which
yeah.
that's somewhat reasonable. I think people might know about, but the fact I read a quote one time where he said like you should write as if you're writing to your smartest, closest friend.
I mean,
He must have some incredibly smart
Well,
and
he-
close
he
friends.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, Andrew
He
Sullivan.
does. Yeah.
Were you an Andrew Sullivan dude?
I've read his stuff. I can't place it.
They
no.
were pals. They loved smoking weed together.
They smoked a lot of weed together.
Sullivan did. I don't know if Hitchens would get in on that.
Right.
it's called And Yet or something. I don't know. Sorry, this is so stupid.
Letters to a Young Contrarian. It's funny when you like use that word.
We had a bud who like when the last years of Hitchens' life, he wrote to Hitchens. He was like, I love your book. You're super cool. I know you're going to be in LA, whatever. And they went out and hung out and like went drinking and just like stayed in touch for pen pals for a while.
I would never even respond to anyone who ever messaged me to hang out. Ever. I get that every day, all day. There's like people wanting to meet up. Let's have a meeting. Let's get a drink. I would never
Meet up?
respond.
What? I'm gonna
Unless
meet
I already
you
knew
somewhere?
of who they were or something, I would
be
never
meeting
respond. Yeah. What I do is I get constant flow of SoundCloud links of music into my DMs, and it's just a terrible thing to have to look at every day, to have to click all these and not listen to them.
Is SoundCloud where it's at?
For underground music, yeah. Okay. No, I was going to say that we should wrap this up anyway because we're over an hour and a half in. But
Sorry.
So, any loose ends we need to tie up here? Anything you guys got coming? The live show, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we are having a live show in New York, but it's sold out. So
Okay. So don't even consider going. It's not going to happen.
come and hang out outside. We're gonna have an after party.
Yeah, maybe we'll debate more at the after party.
Oh, that would be sweet.
In front of everybody, that would be great. Yeah.
Throwdowns.
And what's after the party? Traditionally, it's the hotel lobby. I don't know if we're going to be doing that. Sorry. I'm
Well, I
so
might end
sorry.
up there, yeah.
That was
That was
awful.
good. No, that was another good allusion to the rap music that we're here.
Does
for.
that count as rap though?
Well, R. Kelly's very much like of the rap world.
Pop,
you know?
right? But I don't know.
It's pop music, but it's also like he's closely linked to like a lot of rappers, and
Right.
he was part. He did an album with Jay-Z that was not promoted because he was revealed to be a
Right.
child molester.
right.
You should have brought up Africa Bambaataa being a child molester when you were discussing the.
I didn't know.
No, it's
Bummer.
crazy, and it's really funny because like
Throwing out all my Africa Mobata records.
traditional old school hip hop fans are like the most homophobic fucking people on earth, and then it's just really funny that their god was revealed to be a fucking baby fucker. Yeah,
Who's
it's
the
cool.
most successful gay rapper of all time?
Nobody well known. No, a lot of rumors.
Yeah.
And then you got there's a young rapper named Leaf who a lot of people had a lot of faith in for a minute. It's like L31F, but I don't know how his career's going
It's
these
not
days.
gonna work.
But he's gay as hell. I don't know who else is gay though. It's always been rumors. Anyway, this has been a dope interview. I really
Hey,
hope
thanks
that
so much for
everybody
having
out
me.
there
This
goes.
was super fun. Right?
Yeah.
This is just
pleasure.
mad host chat.
Oh man, oops! All host chat almost
All
broke
host
out.
chat.
You guys had me sitting there dying when you were calling it "Oops, all host chat."
Oh, hell yeah.
I was dying
Oh,
on
yeah.
that. Yeah.
You're too enthusiastic about us.
I know, isn't it weird? Because like people tell me about podcasts all the time. Like you got to check this one out, and I never do it. But
I love it.
I found out about the great debates at a good time when I was on vacation with my parents, and I needed anything possible to.
Any kind of
It's an excellent waste of time. The best
great.
review that we ever got was "This is a complete waste of time."
Yeah,
Who said that
factually correct.
on iTunes or
Some
something?
iTunes
Yeah.
review, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, all the Twitters and the ats and everything are going to be on the screen for people who want to follow these guys. Check out the great debates on the iTunes app is probably the best way to engage with it. You guys should try to do a video element though. Set up the iPhone like I did.
Thought
cool
about
idea.
that.
I don't know.
We gotta figure that out.
Yeah, it's all right.
Periscope.
Fuck it. Anyway, shout out to BJ Novak for watching this whole thing. I really appreciate you retweeting it and and whatever and writing us into your next TV series. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Later.
man.
No, I just found it in that bag.
You did a great job.
It's 69 safe.
That was wonderful.